Yes, peace and glory. God bless you for listening to me, and may the spirit of life protect you from all dangers. This particular moment, I am here to give you teachings about the spirituality of Africans. Spirituality of Africans. You understand, especially the Black Africa. And let me go straight to the point. I want to talk about certain spirits, especially in West Africa. Certain spirit entities that Africans believe in. The Black Africans believe in these spirits. People in Ghana, people in Benin, persons in Togo, Nigeria, and surrounding countries, Burkina, Cote d'Ivoire, and all the surrounding countries. They believe in one thing. Traditionally, they believe in the power of the gods and in the power of the dwarfs, the spirit dwarfs. So the point of discussion is the spirit dwarfs. What is a spirit dwarf? When we say dwarf, you've heard it. In case you are in Africa, you have heard it severally, that people are using dwarfs, others are calling upon dwarfs, others are trying to connect with dwarfs to achieve one purpose or the other, so far as spirituality is concerned, so far as tradition is concerned, so far as ritual is concerned, and so far as some sort of directions are concerned in the traditional sector. So what is a dwarf, or who is a dwarf in spiritism? What is a dwarf? So let me start very quickly, and then let me go in details. Let me go into details and let me show you what it is. When we say dwarfs, especially in Ghana, Africa, West Africa, when we say dwarfs, we are talking about a certain spirit entity. If we should compare it to, or maybe we should resonate it with the ancient mysteries, we would be comparing that to the likes of Hermes and the rest. So dwarf basically is an entity which is connected to the deities, or in the group of deities in Africa. But the dwarfs, they are noted for being messengers and miracle workers. So basically, as angels are noted to be messengers, dwarfs are also noted to be messengers. In fact, before Africans, Black Africans could believe something is an angel, they already knew the dwarfs. They already believed that the dwarfs, we knew that the dwarfs, we have the white one, the dark one, we have the dwarf which is meant to heal, we have the dwarfs that is meant for miracles, like doing some wonders, we have a dwarf that is meant to deliver a message, and we have a dwarf that is meant to punish you in case you offend the gods. So dwarfs naturally are noted for being messengers to the gods. So wherever there is a powerful god, there must be a dwarf, because wherever there is a god, there must be an angel, there must be a messenger. Wherever there is a throne, there is a king, there must be messengers. So the dwarfs are the messengers of the gods, according to our West African orientation, so far as spiritual esotericism is concerned. So now I hope you've gotten the idea, right? Okay. So that is that. Then after knowing this, we go to the most important aspect. What do they do? I've already noted, giving you the instances, that some are healers, some are miracle workers, some will come to punish you when you offend the gods, and some will bring you important messages. Okay, so these dwarfs, how do they operate? Are they able to appear physically for you to see, or maybe in the esoteric mirror? When we say esoteric mirror, like in a trance mode, you see, you cannot see spirits with your physical eye. The moment you try to see it with your physical eye, it means that you, the person, has entered into the trance mode automatically without your knowledge, or subconsciously, or the spirit has reflected in the mirrors of life and then shown itself in you in a reflective manner. You understand this thing? These things are spiritual teachings, and these are deep spiritual teachings that you need to pay so much attention to understand what I'm teaching you, because you know I am a seer. I am born with supernatural powers, and I control all these spirits, so I know what I am talking about. Now, there are 3 kinds of dwarfs, and let me be emphatic. Number 1, in ancient Africa, especially West Africa, what made people really recognized or had attention or had an idea of a dwarf is when they got to know that their children were getting missing. And when a child is missing at that time, nobody would even think of how do we call it, ritualists and those kind of people. No, all that they would think of is that maybe that kid had fallen into a certain hidden pit, or maybe something might have happened to the kid. So they will go for consultations, they will go to spiritual places and seek answers to the reasons why that kid had missing or is not available to be seen. Because imagine your child goes out and that kid or that child does not return. What would you think? There may be so many things going through your mind. So they go on consultations, and when they consult the gods will let them know that that person or that kid had been taken away by the elders. And when an African traditionalist tells you somebody is an elder in the spiritual way, then it means that the dwarfs are at work. So the dwarfs will take this child away, train that child in the spiritual realm. Whether that child will be living physically or spiritually, nobody knows. The fact is that they will take that child away out of the sight from human beings, and then in many, many years, sometimes so many years, that child will be brought back to the people. And when that child is brought back to the people, then that child will be visible. Maybe he or she might have grown by then. Mostly it were men. It were male children who were being taken. You know, the dwarfs, according to African traditional beliefs and orientation, ladies, because of menstruation and so many things, powerful energies do not really associate with ladies much like the men or like the male counterparts. So when the dwarf takes your child away, when the time is due, that could be many years anyway, they will bring that child back, and then you will see that they have brought the child back because he will be visible. That kid will be visible. But then even if the kid had grown to be a man or a woman, you will see the person visible somewhere in the town or in the village. Then they will bring that kid or that person to the shrine, do some rituals for the person, and confirm his or her reincarnation. Yes, they call it reincarnation. When a dwarf takes you away and brings you back, ancestors know that, ancient fathers know that is reincarnation. You are no more the same person they knew. You are now a new person with different supernatural gifts, powers. So now they know you are able to control certain energies. So they tend to respect you. They tend to honor that kid, that person. They tend to listen to that person because they know that person is coming from the spiritual world. So dwarfs, they take the children away and they bring them later to do their work, the spiritual work. So that's how dwarfs got introduced to the people of Africa, West Africa to be precise, because that's where I am. And I've seen these things with my naked eyes. So that's how the dwarfs work. Now, that's not the only way that they used to work. Sometimes, if you are already born with supernatural powers or spiritual gifts, they can reveal themselves to you and work with you at any point in time. You can go to the forest and meet them. You can meet them anywhere, and you can even use invocations to invite them to your arena or your abode of worship, and they will come and stay with you, and they will do the same miracles and wonders. You understand? Yes. So whether you were born to be a teacher's son or you were born to be taken to school, whatever it is, education is education. So that's how the dwarfs used to introduce themselves to Africans. Yes, so that is the spirit dwarf. That is the traditional dwarf. That is a traditional spirit entity, spirit messenger that does so much miracles and is a wonderful being. A dwarf can reveal itself to the invocator or the possessor. A dwarf can talk to the possessor any second, any minute, and the dwarf can possess the person who is the invocator or the possessor. The dwarf can possess the person at any time, and the dwarf can stay away from the person but deal with the person indirectly at any time. So when you are moving with a spirit, one key factor is that the spirit can decide to be in you and work through you, or the spirit can go and work on its own as you become the commander or the possessor or the controller. So that's how the spirit dwarfs work. It is real. Anything that has a name already existed. I've told you this several times, several moments, several occasions, that anything that has a name already existed. So when you hear of dwarfs, they really exist and it is real. Yes. So some of the questions that many people may want to ask is that when you have the dwarfs or somebody uses the dwarfs, can a third party hear their voice? Can a third party see a dwarf like can an ordinary person see a dwarf? It is not easy. For an eye which is not open cannot be connected to esoteric mirror, which means since you don't have the spirit eye, you don't have the third eye, how would you see the spirit? The thing is a spirit. It's not a physical being. So how would you see it? Unless it decides to reveal itself to you, and that is when it reflects itself in the mirrors of life. You understand? That is, we call it the mirroric reflection. You may see the spirit, you may see something like an image like that. Yes, but you can't touch it because it's a reflection. Okay. And can a third party hear the voice of a dwarf? Yes. If the dwarf wants you to hear its voice, it will let you hear. If it doesn't want you to hear, you will never hear. Now we have original and fake everywhere. I know that many people have visited places and human beings have pretended to be dwarfs using things inserted in their mouth. Some are using so many things. Some are hiding behind tables and so forth and trying to mimic the sound and the action of dwarfs. Let me tell you, before anything could be fake, there is already an original. How would somebody create something fake if there is no original to copy from? How would somebody know or try to detect how a dwarf may talk, how a dwarf may sound? How would somebody know how a dwarf may behave unless a person who has true knowledge of the deity had talked or informed the person about it? So before you could see somebody holding a counterfeit of any money or any note, whether it is a dollar note, a Ghana cedi note or whatever, you must know that there is an original copy which they copied from or they imitated from. You understand? So anything that has a name already existed. The dwarf spirit is real. It is in Africa. They work. They do wonders. They heal many people. And they are spirit messengers. They are very fast. They are cunning. They are sharp. They are tricky. Just as the Hermes in the ancient mysteries. So when you go to places and people show you fake things or people do fake dwarf things and people try to be acting as if there is a dwarf but it's not a dwarf, it does not in any way mean there is no dwarf. There are dwarfs. There are so many people in the spiritual sector who do spiritual work who does not even know that there are real dwarfs because they got only introduced to the fake things. They got only introduced to the imitation. You understand? But they have not really met with dwarfs yet. You can meet with dwarf. You can go to the forest and sleep there for 40 days. You can go to the mountains, the rocky areas. You can come, we will teach you, give you invocations, incantations, and when you do and practice and know what you are not supposed to do as well, those spirits will reveal itself to you. It is real. It is real. It is so real. Very, very real. And their wonders are so real. Just as the angels are real. So the fact that you have not seen an angel before does not mean there are no angels. There are angels. There are angels who reveal themselves to people. They move with people and people move with angels. People walk with angels and they communicate with them. The fact that you don't have the ability or the link or the spiritual setup to communicate with angels does not mean there are no angels. There are things that if you want to be spiritually potent, if you want to be spiritually powerful, if you want to be knowledgeable in anything, you must first be humble to pass through the elementary stages of learning. Anything that you do not understand, you can never believe unless you try to mellow, unless you try to calm down. humble yourself to learn from the original people, and you will know how this world is. Already you know that your body is made up of a tripartite being, the spirit, the body, and soul. You understand? So since you are a tripartite being, you know there is a soul in you, there is a spirit in you. You can dream and find yourself at another place altogether before you realize you are back on your bed. Can't you see there are things, there are metaphysical energies around? Can't you see there are cosmic lights? Yes. So the cosmic energy is working all the time. So you as an individual, you have an angel with you, you have many spirits around you. That's why when you commit adultery or you do something good or bad, it determines the number of spirits that will be around you, the positive and the negative, imbalance and all these things. It is true, it works. Those things are real. So the name once again is Angel Powers. And as I told you already, I am a prophet. I am a spiritual enchanter. I move with angels and many other spirits. I'm a son of God. If you need any help, you need any assistance, if you need any spiritual breakthrough, you need any favor from anywhere, you need contract, you want peace in marriage, you want to solve any spiritual problem, in case there are sicknesses disturbing your life, confusion everywhere, money problems, just consult me on +233 249 442824 +233 249 442824. The name is Angel Powers. I'm in Ghana, I'm in Accra. God bless you. I'll come up again with another teaching, and then we take it from there.